I am back with Ronna McDaniel, Chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman. Great to have you back, and congratulations. I want to talk about bankyourvote.com, but when I went all in for you for the chairmanship, it's because you believe in continuous improvement, Peter Drucker style, and this is it. This is bankyourvote.com. This is a big deal.
Thank you, Hugh. Happy birthday to your wife. Thank you so much for having me on. Yes, we're launching the Bank Your Vote initiative today. We have a website, bankyourvote.com. Go there. Byron Donalds from Florida, Bill Haggerty from Tennessee, Steve Daines, and Richard Hudson from the NRCC and NRSC. We're all doing this together, and we're educating voters early and now about the importance of banking your vote early. It's twofold. We're going to protect your vote with poll watchers and poll workers, but we also can't let Democrats get a head start. So this starts now, this education, and in certainly key states like Pennsylvania, where we need voters to get in earlier and bank their vote before Election Day.
You know, this is what the argument I made last year when you were running for re-election, is that we need continuous improvement, and we have to deal with the laws as they are, not as we wish they were. I would prefer one-day elections, but that's not it. We have election season now, and it's never going to change. So you are pushing the committee to adapt to new technologies. How does Bank Your Vote work?
So it's a website, bankyourvote.com. But when you get into the system and you pledge to bank your vote, then we will start tracking you, and we will start getting you engaged to be a poll watcher. We will help you figure out how and when to bank your vote in your state, and then we'll also have you connect with your neighbors and your friends to get them to bank their vote also. So this is going to be an ongoing education. Listen, we do this very well. The RNC has been investing in banking votes for a long time. We win in states like Florida and North Carolina and Iowa, but there are some states where laws have changed. Now Nevada, you get a ballot automatically, a live ballot. That's new to every single voter. Same with California. So we need to make sure we're educating voters on the laws that are on their books as they're changing post-COVID. We're also going to fight bad laws at the same time, but we can't continue to let Democrats get a head start in early voting. We have to make sure our voters understand the importance of getting your vote in early and then going and being a poll watcher or poll worker to watch that process and make sure that the election is being administered fairly.
And of course, you're the chairwoman, but you got a big committee. Did everyone buy into this? Because some of the old tribe may not have liked the idea that we're going to give in to election season, but this is what you have to do, evolve to win. Everybody on board?
I would say there's some that, want to keep fighting in the courts, and we should. And that's why we have an election integrity committee, which has been run by Ashley McClay, our committee woman from D.C., and we are saying the things like you say. We want to see laws with voter ID, get rid of ballot harvesting. We don't want ranked choice voting. We want to fight that in every single state where we can. But when we get to Election Day and the laws are set, we have to play with the rules on the playing ground. And that's where this initiative is so critical. And just think about it like a race, Hugh. If a runner gets a 2-minute head start in a race, they're going to win most likely, right? Especially if it's a 100-meter dash, right? There's no 2 minutes there, but you know what I'm saying. A mile race.
Head starts matter. Head starts matter.
And we can't let the Democrats get a head start in voting and say we're going to make it all up on Election Day. And this is a lot of it's going to be educating voters on the importance of it, but they're not going to vote early unless they know their vote's secure. So protecting the vote is a big part of this.
So I encourage everyone to go to bankyourvote.com and register and become part of the effort to turn elections around. Now, Chairwoman Romney, I want to talk about debates with you. We have a fixed field. Former President Trump, former Vice President Pence just dropped his announcement video. Governor DeSantis is in. Senator Scott is in. Ambassador Haley is in. Former Governor Christie dropped his announcement yesterday. Vivek Ramaswamy's been in for a while. I think those 7 will get the $40,000 minimum donation. Not sure if Governor Hutchinson will, maybe. Doubt Larry Elder will, and he's my colleague. And North Dakota Governor Borgham, not sure he will, and I don't think anyone else will. Do you think the field is fixed at those 10 serious candidates, 7 of whom are likely to make the debate stage?
Yeah, I think we've got the field pretty settled now as who's getting in. I think everybody understood if I'm going to have to get a $40,000 small dollar donor base, I'm going to have to get in before August. So I think that field is mobilized, and I think we've created good criteria. And the reason why we've done this 40,000 small dollar donor threshold, one, the Democrats had 60,000, but the Democrats have a better ecosystem at small dollar donations. And if our candidate is going to be anywhere near competitive with Joe Biden, they need to start creating this building block towards success. And we need to make sure that they have a small dollar fundraising infrastructure. And that's why we're putting this requirement in. If you can't do this, you really shouldn't be running for president. You're not going to beat Joe Biden. So we're not doing it in a punitive way. We're doing it in a success metric. And if you can't do this to get on the debate stage, you're probably not going to be able to take on the incumbent president of the United States.
I'm not king of the forest. I'm not queen, not duke, not earl, to quote the Wizard of Oz. But if I were king of the forest, I would double that every debate. So I'd go from 40 to 80,000, from 1% to 2%, and then to 160,000. Do you have settled in your mind or within the committee yet how you will raise the levels for participation, eligibility in subsequent debates?
Yeah, so we did put in this first debate criteria out that the debate criteria probably or will, we left the margin, increase in subsequent debates. And the debate committee, Dave Bossy runs the debate committee, and it's made up of RNC members. We really feel strongly about that. We haven't settled on that threshold yet. We want to see how this works, and we want to watch and see what this does for the candidates and who can make it, and then we'll settle on that. I will say also, Hugh, the polling criteria that we've put forward is really sound polling criteria. 800 likely Republican registered voters, not just adults, not just any registered voters. So we're really narrowing in on only Republican primary voters, which is something the RNC has never done in the past. And I also think it's going to help make polls more accurate with the way we've created this criteria.
You know, what I've always said is that the debates ought to be about the 30 million Republicans who vote in the primaries or the caucuses. There are 30 million from 2016. Maybe that number is up. Is that the guiding principle for the RNC, Madam Chairwoman?
It is, and it's also a big reason why we put this pledge in, Hugh, the Beat Biden pledge. Nobody's going to get on the debate stage unless they're committed to supporting who the voters choose. It is about the voters. They get to pick the nominee. I don't get to pick the nominee. You don't get to pick the nominee. Republican primary voters get to select the delegates that eventually pick the nominee. And every candidate on that stage, we're asking them to show respect for their choice and their decision-making after this process is done, and pledging to support them, because what do those voters want the most? They want to win the White House, and they want to beat Biden. And that's why that's part of our criteria as well.
No, there are no secrets on the show. I want to be a part of this debate process, and I've told you that, and I've told the RNC that. But we haven't seen the schedule yet. You know, I got a life here, Madam Chairwoman. We've got to get a schedule.
We're slow rolling it. We are slow rolling the schedule a little. There's a lot of reasons why. I mean, contractually, it's hard with some of these venues. It'll speed up. It'll speed up after the first debate. I want you to be part of a debate too.
We want 10. I don't want one. I want 10. I love I love the way you're going about this. It's finally Wright's got it started, and you've got it perfected along with David Bossy and the committee. But when do you think we'll see that schedule?
I think there'll be a debate announced per debate. I don't think you're going to see a whole schedule. I think we're going to see debate after debate, and there's reasons for that. I'm not going to relay all of that on the air, but there's reasons for us. It helps us negotiate by not having it all out at once, and I think we get better say in moderators and other things and networks and what they're going to give when we are slow rolling it a little bit.
Yeah, well, we had to we being media had to adjust when last time around 2015-16 CNBC threw John Harwood on there, and then they got exiled, and that's a good threat to keep over people. But I don't agree with some of our candidates who are wanting to eliminate NBC or CNN. I hope you guys aren't listening to that, because it seems to me that they've got to be, if the moderating panel is fine, if it's balanced, it won't matter. What do you think about the objections from candidates to NBC and CNN?
Yeah, I'm not really hearing that from the candidates as much as from, certain conservative media folks. Listen, I think as a party, we have to recognize that the path to the White House runs through independent voters. We have voters migrating, Republican voters are migrating to red states, go figure, because of low taxes and the schools were open during the pandemic. So Florida, Texas, Tennessee, they're getting redder. But the path to the White House runs through blue and purple states, which means we have to get in front of these independent voters, and I think that starts now. So I want good moderators. I don't want a moderator that's going to be a Democrat attacking our candidate, but I do think we have to expand our reach, and it can't just be through conservative media outlets.
100% agree. Now, let me talk to you about production values on the debates. I'm sure you watched the Twitter announcement of Governor DeSantis, and he did great. Twitter didn't do so great. If that happens to an RNC debate, we lose half the audience in 5 minutes. How much do production values matter to the RNC when they're making debate choices?
It does matter. I mean, we don't want the microphones not to work. You don't want the one candidate to get a microphone that works and one that doesn't. Or there's a whole bunch of things that go into production. What your listeners probably don't even know is the RNC doesn't pay for the debates. The networks do. And it's an expensive process.
Very.
But by doing this in a slow way, we're able to negotiate better with these networks. We didn't hand it all out at once. Like, we didn't give them all the candy at once. We're saying, let's see how you're doing. Let's see what your coverage is like. We want to see a CNN town hall and how that goes with Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. So we're watching the process as it goes. But we want to have that negotiation power, and part of that is not announcing all the debates at once.
Oh, I don't want to ever negotiate with you and David Bossie and your committee members. I don't. I'm going to lose. Chairwoman McDaniel, let's go back and close on Bank Your Vote, which is actually far more important down ticket than it is on the top of the ticket. We've got to get people registered all across the country, and I'm a Republican, and people know that. Are you happy with how it's getting picked up? Is it rolling out well?
Today's our launch. So Byron Donalds and Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida, Senator Bill Hagerty, Steve Daines, and Richard Hudson, we're doing a call this afternoon, a press call. We're going to be rolling this out, but it'll be continuous. But then I'm going to take it to the county chairs, and we're going to have Bank Your Vote chairs in every state. That's going to be their whole focus, is making sure in their precinct and in their polling area that voters are getting their votes early. We're going to get our high propensity voters. We're going to get those votes banked early so we can seek those low propensity voters on Election Day. You know, a lot of Republicans coming out of 2020 got spooked by voting by mail. And so it's twofold. We have to let voters know we're going to keep fighting in the courts. We're going to have poll watchers and poll workers, but we need to bank our votes early. So go to bankyourvote.com.
Bankyourvote.com. Well done, Madam Chair. Keep coming back. Just expedite that schedule, please. Some of us have got calendars like weeks empty waiting for the RNC. Good to always talk to you, Chairwoman McDaniel.
You.